Alright, good afternoon world and good afternoon YouTube. We're back again at this Team HELLCAT channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you again for joining us once more. If you are new, as always, please give me that little subscribe button tap, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and make sure you leave a comment if you feel so inclined. But without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, am I wearing the same Mopar gear that I was wearing in the last video? I sure am. That's because this is just a continuance of my other video. So now, we're gonna go shoot video number 2 of the day for you guys. But before I get into that, it's been a little while since I've worn said Mopar gear. So don't forget, if you on Instagram, hit up JazzBlueRT so you can make sure you get some cool team whatever gear. You think I was gonna stop wearing this just because I don't have a scat pack anymore? Hell no, man, this shit is fucking awesome. I love this shit. Plus, it's really close to how the channel sounds. So, I mean, you know, he knew what he was doing when he gave me this shirt. But yeah, make sure you hit up JazzBlueRT, get you some cool merch and some cool Mopar reppin' gear. But anyway, YouTube, what is next on the docket for us today as video number 2 of the day commences? Well, today, you guys already see that thumbnail. So today we're gonna be doing a little road test on the drive modes, or the SRT modes, should I say, of the HELLCAT or the Banshee. So today I'm going to be taking a little in-depth tour of what the drive modes are, all the drive modes on the HELLCAT, and also what I feel, in my opinion, is the best drive mode to use during your everyday travels if you daily drive a HELLCAT, be it a Charger or a Challenger. Now let me do as I do in all my videos, especially when it comes to an opinionated video, with a disclaimer for all you trolls out there. This is my opinion, Team HELLCAT's opinion, on the best drive mode to use during everyday travels in a Dodge Charger HELLCAT. Of course, it's probably not gonna be your guys's, or the trolls should I say, it's probably not gonna be your favorite mode to use, but hey, you're not in my car, you're not paying the payments for my car. So, if I'm paying the payments, I'm gonna make my opinion on my car. So let me just reiterate that. My car, my payments, my money. I'm gonna make the decision, in my opinion, what I think is the best for my car. But please, don't let that stop you guys from leaving me comments. I love when I get my troll comments. It was like, honestly, like when I got, I got my last troll comment, I was actually out eating dinner with my wife and some friends, and I got the little notification, and it showed me the first 3 sentences. Man, I was howling at my table. I don't even know, like, that shit just like cracked me up. So please do not let that hesitate you trolls from giving me some of those awesome comments, because let me tell you what, laughter during the day keeps the doctor away, I think. So you just keep making me laugh. I will accept it. I friggin' love it, man. But anyway, that's enough of my monologue for the day. Let's go take a little look inside the HELLCAT for those who are not too familiar with the drive modes. Let me just preface that with the drive modes in a HELLCAT and an SRT are a little bit different than they are from you know, a Scat Pack or an RT or an SXT or anything like that. The HELLCAT modes, excuse me, are just a little bit different, so that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. Okay, and we are in the garage now, in the lovely HELLCAT. You see how presentable the interior looks, especially when it comes to that lighting. You know why? That's because I did a swap out for the stock bulbs for some diode dynamics. And there you go. It just looks so much more welcoming in here and in the back. If you guys haven't checked out that video, please go check out the video. I'm gonna leave a little card for you guys right now, so you can click that link if you want to take a break on this one and go check out my diode dynamics install video. But anyway, we're going to get to the topic at hand here. We're not going to turn on the car just yet. We'll do that when we start going for a drive. But let me tell you what, I think I'm going to have to move along this quickly, because that looks like a generic Florida storm moving in. So I think we're going to have to get with this quick and in a hurry. But anyway, we're just going to put our ignition on. There we go. Is that a HELLCAT on the front? It sure is. Love looking at my 200 on the dash as well. Anyway, oh, there we go. We got that annoying noise as well. So, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna shut that. Yeah, that's right. There you go. All right. So, let's put in a little get in a little bit of focus here. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to our fancy little, it didn't want to zoom in for me, oh no, oh well, that's a lost cause. Anyway, we're gonna go down to our SRT button down here. We're gonna smack that SRT button. All right, and it is going to bring up your drive mode. So here we go. So right now you've got your 4 drive modes. You've got your automatic, which is pretty much your default, which is what your car is going to go into every time you push that start button and start up your car. It's what it's going to automatically default to. You've got a custom mode, which is almost like an auto, but it's, you know, you can sort of modulate all of the customization stuff inside of the drive mode, so that way it's got a little bit of, you can put in a little bit of everything in your custom mode. So that can also be your auto mode if you want it to be, but they also give you this little custom mode here, so it's a little nice little backup just in case somebody wants to get a little squirrely with you. Now you've got your sport mode. Obviously you see here paddle shifters are on, transmissions in sport, traction, suspension in sport, and of course you get that lovely 707 horsepower. And then we go to, boom, the big boy. That's your track mode. Of course, power 707, transmission, traction, and suspension on track mode, and paddle shifters are on. Now, just to give you guys a little insight on setting up your drive mode, so here you go. So look, I just tried my track mode setup, and here you go. You basically get your total readout of everything that you can modulate when it comes to modulating your driving mode. So you can switch your power from 500 to 700, which will put your transmission into either hello track mode. Only available, yeah, you damn right they are. Anyway, so you can move your power from 707 horsepower to 500 horsepower. You can move your paddle shifters from on to off. You can move your traction basically setting to track, sport, street, and same thing with your suspension and your trans mode. The auto mode, or the eco mode should I say, is a little bit different. So here you have the difference of choosing your 707 horsepower or your eco mode. Same thing with your transmission and your paddle shifters. So paddle shifters, there's not really an eco mode for it. Your paddle shifters, basically, if you have an eco mode, your paddle shifters are automatically turned off because, you know, once you start going full gusto, the old girl sucks down gas, especially when you got the power and using those paddle shifters in there. Really, all the eco mode does, even though on the Hellcats you don't get the MSDS, which is basically the 4-cylinder drop down, even though on the Hellcats you don't get the 4-cylinder drop down, it'll still, oops, hello, I went and embarrassed myself there. It'll still do, the car will still do what it can to hopefully save you a little bit of gas. Which, I mean, in the case of, oh, I love this little dyno here too. Sure, it might not be accurate, but I love this little dyno. Anyway, even though it might not do the best job that it can on giving you guys a little bit of economy, should I say, a little gas economy, either way, if you got a Hellcat, most of the time, shall I say, most of the time you're not going to be worrying about your gas mileage. Same way as it was in my Scat Pack, same way as it is in this Hellcat now. It's about those miles per gallon, not so much the miles per gallon. Okay, so how am I going to make my decision on what I think is the best drive mode for a daily driven Dodge Charger Hellcat? Well, obviously we're going to go on a quick drive. We're going to test all 4 modes. Well, technically, because you've seen that my auto mode is in the default setting of eco. So we're already going to get that test on eco mode. I'm going to give you guys a couple of pros, cons when it comes to those drive modes. And then at the end of my drive, I'm going to make my decision on what I believe is the best driving mode if you're daily driving a Charger Hellcat. Or a Challenger Hellcat at that point, honestly. But still, if it's going to be for a Challenger or a Charger, they're both going to have to be, my opinion, on the TorqueFlite 8-speed, not the 6-speed manual, because that'd be a little bit different. Alright, here we go. Is the GoPro set up? It sure is. Do we got my preview going? We sure do. Now, I just got to do one last thing. Oh, sounding a little feisty today, no? Yeah. Alright, my YouTube friends, here we go, starting out my comparison drive, and the first subject up in my 4 drive modes, as I usually have it in automatic mode, is going to be eco mode. So let's take an eco mode drive real quick. Okay, so obviously eco mode's a little bit different from the other drive modes in a Hellcat or in an SRT. For eco mode, the things that I've noticed is at least having it in that being my automatic mode, just because I daily drive the car. That's not my decision, by the way. It could be, but right now it's not my decision. So for eco mode, basically what happens is the car shifts very smoothly. Power delivery is very delayed, which obviously is to save you guys, if you're driving eco mode, to save you gas. So basically, overall what the car wants to do, it wants to get up to its highest gear possible, given your throttle response and you know how you're driving at the time. So it wants to shift up to the highest gear possible to save you the most gas possible. And also, when it comes to power delivery, the computers in the car are not expecting you to be like flooring it, you know, always like flooring it every other minute or so, you know, really like putting out that Hellcat power. That's not what is expected when you have it in eco mode. So for eco mode, wants to shift to the, oh man, you hear those brakes squeaking? Next up, don't you worry. So for eco mode, wants to shift to the highest gear possible for gas economy. Also gives the lowest delivery of power also for gas economy. So we're just gonna stay in eco mode here till I get to pretty much the end of my residential area, and then we'll test out the other 3 power modes. I'm hearing a little, yeah, I see a little rain on my windshield too, so, oh man, might be some ginger testing if this keeps up on those other 3 drive modes, if you catch my drift there. But anyway, that brings up a good point. So yes, I do drive my Hellcat, at least to and from work anyway. I do drive my Hellcat, you know, in just my day-to-day commutes in eco mode. You know, usually it's to the point where I rarely find somebody that I want to race at like between 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning. But there are a few, but that's why you can change them on the fly. But anyway, for my daily commutes, yes, to and from work at least. So we'll preface with that. To and from work at least, I do drive my Hellcat in eco mode. I know, oh, sacrilege. That might be like a big thing for some people who think you have a Hellcat, but I mean, again, when you're paying for the gas bill and you're paying the car note and everything else, you know, then you can drive it in the way you want to drive it. But since I pay for it, that's the way I'm going to drive my car. So overall, as I've said before, eco mode for the best, hopefully the best possible gas economy that you're going to be able to get out of an SRT or a Hellcat. Also, eco mode just for driving the tame version of a Hellcat. Obviously, you know it's not going to give you full 707 horsepower. It's probably going to give you in the 500 like it does in your street mode or less. But let's see how the power delivery is. So here, I don't have paddle shifters engaged because they do not engage on eco mode, but this is from 30. So foot on the gas. Yeah, so little bit of a power delay, but the power's still there. The supercharger still whines, but it definitely does not get to where it does in the other modes. I only got up to about 50 there, and you even heard, like, obviously as the computer will downshift for you in the Torque Flight 8-speed, but you even heard like that little bit of delay, like I said, foot on the gas, like, you know, the downshift eventually happened and I got some power. So it's not that the power is totally taken out of eco mode. It's there in case of an emergency, or, you know, in case you need to pass somebody or you got to get through something with a quickness. But other than that, eco mode for me is just the tame, pretty much like driving, I'd say, a scat pack portion of driving a Hellcat. Alrighty, so next driving mode up is going to be sport mode. Now, for those who don't know, if you're already in motion and you want to switch your driving mode, it's better to do it at a stoplight, but for this reason, that's why I say it's better to do it at a stoplight. So the car will tell you if you hit, you know, the touchscreen for whatever mode you want to go into, it'll tell you cannot switch unless, you know, foot is off the acceleration so that the computer can recalibrate everything. So, lucky for me, I'm coming up to a stoplight right now, but my foot is already off the accelerator, so now, switch to sport mode. Ooh. Now, I don't know if you could see the vibration in the camera, but when you do it, let's see if we can do it from, let's go back to auto mode, and then put it in sport mode. There's a little bit of a jump there. The car kind of shudders a little bit. To me, that's pretty entertaining, because to me, that's the car saying like, all right, I'm ready to do this, let's go. Now, what I can tell you from the jump, after taking off from the stoplight, is that the valves, the active valves are open in the exhaust. It's a lot louder, a little bit more grumbly, and the car definitely wants to go. Obviously, on your Speedo, you get the little swervy rear end of the car there to let you know. It says traction control off, but the traction control is not totally off. That is just the generic light up, the illuminated symbol for it. What that's telling you is that the traction control is now in sport mode, and also your TFT display will tell you that as well. Ready. So here we go. So little pull in sport mode and foot on gas. Yep. Yeah. So immediate difference in sport mode. Lost traction for a fraction of a second. Lost traction for a fraction of a second. But definitely not as much of a delay as there was in eco mode, obviously, because this is the sport mode. Another option you have with sport mode is you can engage. Come on, son. You can. It was getting warm in here. Let me turn on my AC real quick. Another option that you have in sport mode is to engage your paddle shifters. So I'm not really a big paddle shifter guy unless I get into the maybe not so legal activity of street racing, which I will neither confirm nor deny that I've participated. But in those instances, or let's just go with that, or when I'm on the track. When I'm on the track, that's probably the only time I'd really use my paddle shifters. If I just feel like I want to have fun a little bit, yeah, I'll get right into my paddle shifters. It's fun to use the paddle shifters, honestly. But would I do it for everyday driving? Not at all. So big takeaway difference from sport mode to eco mode, or my auto mode, if you will, is that the car stays, it no longer wants to shift to the highest gear possible. The car stays in a pretty high rev range for an automatic, obviously. Usually when I'm driving on the highway, as I am now in eco mode, my car is probably at about, it's below 2,000 RPM. So it's usually about 1,500 to 1,800 RPMs. Now, in sport mode, I am pretty much at 2,000 RPMs right now, and I don't use the manual to tell me what I'm, like the manual gear slider to tell me what I'm in, but I'm definitely not in 8th gear as I would be as soon as I get onto the highway in eco mode. So obviously, like I'm gonna do right now, when you wanna pass somebody, the car is just ready to go. The car is ready to pass whosoever you choose. The car is ready to pass. What's up, Mustang? The car is ready to pass whosoever you choose in that aspect. So, sport mode runs in a higher rev, little bit less traction control intrusion, and power delay is nowhere near as bad as it is in the auto mode. Alrighty, and last, it's technically not the last, but I will say last of the pre-programmed drive modes. Let me take my foot off the accelerator. Track mode. Now I got electronic stability control track, so that is pretty much the least intrusive traction control mode without, hitting the traction button for 5 seconds and turning it totally off. Immediate differences off the bat. The car has not changed its rev. It's still running at about 2,000 RPMs, so it's higher rev to be able to deliver that power a lot less delayed than in auto mode. Right now we have the transmission is in track, traction is in track, and suspension is in track as well, and paddle shifters are on. I'm not using them, but they are available to be enabled. So, right now, going about 60, and let's give it a little shove.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna send it.
Yep, there you go. So now, what I noticed, power delivery differences. I will say that out of all of the transmission options, I really enjoy the track transmission over all of the other modes. Track transmission, obviously, is gonna have the quickest shifts, it's gonna have the best power delivery, and it's going to have, well, I guess I already said quickest shifts, but it's gonna have the best downshifting ratio when it comes to delivering that immediate power. And I'm still riding in 2,000 RPM. So the car is still in a higher gear to be able to deliver that power to you. So if we were just doing a battle right now between sport mode and track mode, I go with track mode. Track mode has, like I said, better power delivery and the quickest shifting ratio of all of the pre-programmed drive modes. I also forgot to mention that if you want to do a little smoke show, sport and track mode both are going to, both of them are going to give you the best possible use of a smoke show without turning your traction control totally off. But I think for a little bit more showmanship, you are probably going to want to have it in track mode, just so, you know, you get the most gusto, you get the most noise, you get the most out of using those unusable rear tires. Okay, little Camaro SS. Couldn't tell if that was a ZL1 or an SS, but I'll tell you what, being that I lean more towards the Mopar side of everything, this is totally a side story, being that I lean more towards the Mopar side of everything, it doesn't mean that I am totally just, you know, Mopar, you know, oriented. I am a car guy. I love all kinds of cars. I have my favorites and my least favorites, obviously as everybody does. But I'll tell you what, at some point, and if somebody in the Florida area has one or knows somebody that wants to, hit me up. I would love to review a ZL1. Doesn't have to be a 1LE. I would love to review a ZL1, especially in comparison to daily driving a Hellcat, if that person daily drives a ZL1. I would love to see the comparison and see the difference. Like, ideally, I'd love to drive a 6-speed again, but, you know, I would just, point blank period, I would love to review a ZL1. I think those are really aggressive looking cars. They're really beautiful looking cars. And I mean, I've already come from a 6-speed coupe life, so, you know, I sort of know the experience. But a ZL1, the supercharged, man, sheesh, would love to review one of those. If anybody in the Florida, or should I say Jacksonville area, has or knows of someone who would be willing to do that, let me know in the comments, or, you know, DM me on Instagram, and I'll be getting back with you shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that I have hit my exit and I am about ready to wrap up this video, we're gonna get to the last mode, which again isn't really a pre-planned mode. You can pre-plan it yourself, but that's why it's the custom mode. So, foot off my accelerator, hit custom. Okay. Seems like the car went a little bit more docile. Probably a little bit more docile. So let me just give you a readout if you didn't see it before. My power in my custom mode is 707. My transmission is in street mode. My paddle shifters are on. And my traction and suspension are also in street mode. So now right off the bat, I can tell you that the car does not rev as high as it did in the sport and the track mode. Right now, I'm cruising at just about, let's see, about 1,400 RPMs. So it's definitely not cruising blew that one out of the water. It is not cruising at much of a higher RPM than the eco mode. It is a little bit higher, you know, I'm assuming to deliver the power a little bit better. But again, eco mode definitely has the lowest RPM traveling out of all the modes. But sport mode, I'd say, is pretty much, if you took where we ride at sport and track mode, and if you took where we ride at the eco mode, you see what I did there? A little shocker for you? A little shocker for you. In the middle there is definitely the street settings on my custom mode. So, give you a little bit idea of that. Okay, so as I come to a stop here, I do, like I said, definitely notice that the car is a little bit more docile. Nowhere near as docile as the eco mode, but it's definitely a little bit more docile. I can definitely see myself driving around in this more than the eco mode, if I do say so myself. So, going up to a start, let's do a little 20 roll. All right, so, difference in power delivery right from the jump, I'll say, is that this actually, which is, you know, I mean, that's kind of odd for me to notice. This actually, in the street setting for my transmission, traction, and suspension, it's a little bit more plush, but also it doesn't ride in higher rev, but boy does it rev higher. Now let me explain that a little bit. I'm not riding particularly, like I said, in 2000 as I was for sport and track mode, but I am definitely, when I give it a roll or when I just punch it, I'm definitely shifting a lot higher. So for me, I could see you using street for more of, you know, if you're doing unprepped track work or something like that, or if you're just doing, you know, roll races or street races, something like that. I could see myself putting the street setting, at least in transmission mode, but really I would still go for track mode. But very interesting to see how far up this car revs when you just do a simple pull with everything in the street setting rather than the sport or track mode. One thing I have also noticed is that while I'm not in the eco mode, when you start getting to more highway cruising speeds, let me shift my lane here, use a little power. Okay, power delivery's not bad. But anyway, as I was saying, when you're going more highway speeds, it will in fact ride in about the same rev range area that the eco mode does. So, you know, obviously, as we can tell, street mode, you're not going full gusto with it, but you're still going to have readily available power delivery without riding in such a high rev range as you were before in sport and track mode. Okay, let me get over a little bit, got a little open road. So now we're at about 50, so let's see where the power delivery comes. Definitely a higher rev range than sport and track mode. Sport and track mode, there's nothing against them. There's nothing against any of these modes. I'm not, you know, saying that any of these modes are negative in any sense. For the street setting, what it does do, well, let me just go back. For sport and track mode setting, the computers are gonna pretty much take over completely. It's gonna shift you, it's gonna give you up that high rev range, maybe not hit the rev limiter, but it's gonna give you that high rev range and immediately shift. It wants to keep giving you that speed, so that way, you know, you're utilizing all 707 horsepower, but you're also, how do I say, you're also easily banging through those gears to be able to get the most performance out of every gear selection that you go through. With the street mode, I'm noticing that whether it's a 20 roll or a 50 roll or just a plain just smashing it, this car wants to rev a lot higher in street mode. Like, I pretty much made it up to 5,900 RPMs before the car decided to shift. Now I'm not going to try it with the paddle shifters, just because I'm not on the, well, you know, I'm not on my preferred road setting to try the paddle shifters with this. But definitely biggest takeaway, if you have anything in the street modes, car revs a lot higher with a nice plush suspension while your active valves are still open, while also utilizing all 707 horsepower. So I think that's a pretty nice pairing. But anyway, YouTube, that was my road testing of all 4 of my drive modes. Now I'm going to finish up my drive. I'm actually out to do a little errand today. I'm picking up some stuff that are left over one of my friends' houses. So I'm gonna go grab my stuff, and then we're gonna get back to the crib, and I'm gonna give you guys a breakdown of what I think, in my opinion, is the best driving mode to use while I daily drive my Charger Hellcat. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Oh.
Are you awake?
Now I am.
All right, well, I just pulled up.
Cool.
Cool.
Let me throw you my key.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because it's locked downstairs.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Okay, bye.
They go crazy. All right, we're here with a local Jacksonville celebrity. I've mentioned her on my Instagram before, but now you can put a face back to the name again. Check out local Jack's artist in her, I don't know, what are those called? Poi, yeah, poi. Whatever, whatever, yeah. Those are poi, I guess. So she's learning how to poi right now because she's handicapped and she got this dope ass scooter. But if you're in the Jacksonville area and you see above her, you want some dope ass paintings like this. My wife just ordered some from her as well. Hit up local Jack's artist. I'm gonna put her Instagram in this video right now, and I'm gonna put it in the description while she plays with her poi being broke. But in case y'all didn't know, if she don't put it on her Instagram, she like runs like an exotic pet house or something, because look, she's got a dinosaur right here whose name is Zazu. So she got a dinosaur there he's a little shy right now. And she got Savannah cats. Look at, she got these like cheetah cats, man. Look at that. That's Kara? Raja, damn it. They're Raja and Kara. Raja like went out. Oh look, there's another painting right there. You want cool stuff like that, you hit her up on her Instagram. But yeah, she got Raja and Kara. They help her paint too, so if there's a paw print on it, that's just them signing the picture, so. But anyway, this is what I was driving to come get. I had to come get some goofy ass bag that I thought somebody stole of all my fucking clothes. But they're right here because she's a good friend and I love her. So we're gonna get back in the crib and then I'm gonna show you guys the reveal of what I think is the best driving mode. So stick with us, YouTube. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back at the crib now. As you can see, I got some good mood lighting set again with my new diode dynamics installed inside here. So now you guys can get a full look at this awesome mug while I tell you guys my final decision. Before I get into that, again, if I didn't plug Local Jax Artist enough, go follow her page on Instagram. She's got some awesome footage. She got some awesome pictures and, you know, like process photos of how she does her paintings, all of her paintings that she does, and also there's information on how you can link up and probably get some commissioned paintings from her, whether you're in Florida, in the Jacksonville area, or outside. I'm sure she could work with you for that kind of stuff. But she's one of my best friends. I love the girl to death, so please go give her a follow and get her followers up and get all that awesome art seen throughout and outside of the Jacksonville area. All right, so on my drive back, I had some time to think. I didn't record anything from my drive back. Excuse me. So I had some time to think on my drive back. And so now, obviously, everybody's gonna wonder what I think the best drive mode is for a Dodge Charger Hellcat, if you're gonna daily drive it. Now, I can't give this just one answer. So I'm gonna go through what I went through mentally, my process, to figure out what was the best drive mode to daily drive a Charger Hellcat. Okay, so first, let's go with winner number one of what I think is the best drive mode for a Charger Hellcat, or a Challenger Hellcat, as long as you have the TorqueFlite 8-speed transmission. But anyway, back to this. So, I think if you are just using your Hellcat in daily driving, just to go back and forth from work, I mean, I don't see when you'd ever really do that because, you know, you got a 707 horsepower grocery getter. But if you're just going back and forth to work, I definitely am going to say that the eco mode, or, you know, setting up your auto mode as the eco mode, would probably be the best choice for a drive mode if that's the only reason, which I can't see who would do that, but if that's your only reason for daily driving your Charger Hellcat. Now, let's get into sport mode and track mode. So for me, I'm gonna have to go with neither of these guys. Sport mode and track mode, again, that might be sacrilegious for some people. I know, I mean, it was totally different for me in my Challenger Hellcat. When I was in my Challenger Hellcat, I had the Auto Sport turned on all the time, which was the most, you know, out of control mode that you could go on. And that's what I only had my Challenger Scat Pack in. But for a car of this nature, for me, again, people, let's remember, this is my opinion. For me, I wouldn't use either of these modes every day on the road. I mean, it's just, to me, like, half of the time it's unusable. And especially if you get into the rain, boy, you better look out, because you're gonna need to turn one of these modes off. So for me, that just leaves the custom mode. So if I myself was gonna be driving, well, I am. I mean, me, if I'm gonna drive my Charger Scat Pack, if I'm gonna drive my Charger Hellcat every day, I'm gonna put it in the custom mode, which honestly, I don't see why you wouldn't choose another mode other than that, because you have free reign of damn near everything. Anything, if you want to put something in, one thing in track, another one in a street setting, or even if you want to put something in a sport setting and get a little bit of everything. You can get every bit of every world of every drive mode in the custom setting. So for me, I think I'm gonna do a couple more experiments with it. I really like the transmission on street mode right now, and I love obviously having the 707 horsepower version always selected, because duh, as you can see, I'm always using that red key, baby. But I really like having the transmission in street mode. I'm gonna fiddle around with the traction and the suspension a little bit more, maybe move them out of street mode, maybe move them into sport or track. But all in all, I think if you've got the custom mode set, eventually when you find what you want out of that custom mode, that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the best drive mode to use when you're driving a TorqueFlite 8-speed Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger Hellcat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. There is my pick for the best drive mode to daily drive a Dodge Charger or a Dodge Challenger Hellcat with the TorqueFlite 8-speed transmission. Now, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I know that's not going to be everybody's choice. I know I'm probably going to get some negative feedback for that choice, but in the end, it's still my own personal whip, and that's how I'm going to drive my car. If you got problems with how I drive my car, go get you a Hellcat and go drive it the way you want to drive it, man. I mean, I totally support that. You do it the way you want to do it. But for me, as I said before, that's my opinion. Now, I'm going to sit down. As you can see, I already got behind me. You remember that last video? I already got all that stuff set up to start editing these 2 videos that I knocked out in this one day. And tomorrow, I get to wake up bright and early and go shoot a 3rd video, but this one's gonna be a little bit more in depth. So, can't wait for you guys to see all 3 of these videos, especially that 3rd video, because I think I'm gonna get some good laughs out of it, and I hope you guys do as well. So with everything said and done, I'm gonna go edit these videos. I'm gonna get out this content to you guys. Once again, more plugs. Make sure you like, browse, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you spread my videos far and wide. Make sure you get everybody to see the awesomeness that is the Team Scat Cat channel. Go follow one of my good friends, Local Jack's Artist. Make sure if you gotta get some culture in your life, make sure you hit her up for some awesome culture and some awesome paintings and just some overall dope artwork anywhere that you can find in Jacksonville, especially from a local artist such as herself. Go follow my sponsors, Devotees Official and Gentlemen's Driving Club. Those are all on Instagram. You guys are gonna see their names come across right now, and you're also gonna see my promo codes for both of those websites, and you're gonna see the actual links for them in the description below as well. Make sure you go follow the Banshees build on Hellish Banshee. I already had some followers hit me up just because they saw it on the car. Had some conversations with some kids. They really liked the car. They all saw the Instagram tag. They all went and followed. So shouts out to those kids if y'all watching my video right now. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoy the other videos coming out of this grinding that I'm doing to get you guys all this content. I really hope you guys stick with the channel, follow the build, and follow what's to come next on the channel. As I always say, take care, YouTube. I'll see you on the next one.